Oh God, wanna welcome to my house now. Do the bolt. That's the last time I wear this hat. Growing up in Australia was a wild ride. I mean, I'm 40 now, 10 years older than Romain. So when I came to Australia, there was no other black people around that I wasn't related to. Now, think about that for a minute. So I got taken away from Jamaica, brought to Australia where there was literally no other black people around that I was not related to. I walked in the streets for like 2 years before I saw another black person. Like now you walk around and everywhere you go, there's other black people. But man, it wasn't. That's not what it was like. And I remember like I was objectified on every single way that you can think. From people like literally crossing the street to come and try and touch my skin and touch my hair and just like random things, and girls be like, is it true what they say about black men? Like, or like any kind of stereotype you can think of, I experienced growing up. So I mean, when I was a teenager, that was fun. You know, like you're so different. It was so much fun.
Yeah, but you don't get seen for who you truly
you
are.
Don't get seen for who you truly are. That's right. And it wasn't until I think I was about 25. I sort of hit a space where I was like, this is not how I want to be seen. This is not how I want to be like. This is not how I want to be approached. And I think my hair was probably about as long as Romain's at that time. And one day, I walked into the barber shop and I'm like, I want you to cut this off because I'm sick of people trying to touch me because of my hair. I'm sick of people trying to approach me because of you know the whole image of what this represents. And I remember cutting all my hair off and put in a bag and cried, man. Like that was just like becoming someone else that's just not this ideal of what a black man should be.
Yeah.
And it was heavy, you know. It was a really pivotal point in my life where and I used to perform back then. I was in theater and shows and all this kind of stuff, and I literally I hung that all up because I got sick of being in the spotlight, and I just wanted to just discover who I am. I think there's a big perception that men need to just be. When I say strong, like you don't cry, you got to put on bravado and stuff all the time. And not be soft and not embrace the feminine side of yourself. I think strength and what it is to be a strong man, black and otherwise, is to be able to know when to be strong, like when to stand up, when to be firm, when to be soft, when to hold strong in your masculine energy, and when to let the subtle energies of the feminine and fluidity flow through you, and when to be soft, and when to be gentle, and when to be strong and hard. You know, all those things I think are really integral with being what it is to be a man, and encapsulating all of that into the ever-changing flow of what it is to be a man, to cry, to do all those things that, you know, that may not be perceived as what it is to be masculine.
Being masculine and being strong for me is the ability to be emotionally available for your friends and a family, the people that you love and care for, but to be physically strong enough to also protect them. So that's
for real, bro.
Yeah. So for me, that's how I see it. And through that emotional availability to your family and your friends, you're able to be vulnerable, and they're able to see you for who you are. And also being able to protect them physically is a really important thing for me as a man. Yeah. So that's for me.
The challenging part of that is when I became a father. And like, you know, it's like, okay, there's generational stuff of unavailability for a lot of black fathers throughout time that hadn't been available for their kids. And I'm not going to be one of those fathers, and not going to be one of those people that doesn't break some of the ancestral things that's happened throughout time to make sure that we are standing, we are providing, we are being strong, we are protecting, and just like, you know, putting aside all the things that I think should be the way it is, and actually doing the things that work.
A lot of our fathers and a lot of our uncles, they've got to fight so many different battles. They've got to work maybe 2 or 3 jobs, some of them to, obviously when you come to a new country, to find your feet. So there's no one around to actually show us or provide us with that really good foundation, because they're all their energy is being used for something else. So they don't have that opportunity to give us those lessons that we sort of need.
My family is so deeply involved with everything Jamaican in the state, right? So like all the Jamaican food and music festivals, all the reggae parties, all the food, like, you know, we're deeply ingrained in all that stuff. And I guess, you know, kind of growing up, I was never estranged from that. You know, whenever I get in the car, like even my kids, they put on dancehall, they put on reggae music, you know. and my daughter has my daughter has no idea what they're saying, which is good. But she put on dancehall, and then she's in the back of the car twerking, and I'm like, I didn't teach her that. She didn't see no video, but she's twerking. I'm like, that's no blood for real.
She knows how to do the rhythm.
She knows how to do the rhythm. So I don't know. For me, culture is like, it's my language, it's the food, it's a way of being, it's the music, it's you know, all those things sort of combined, the way that we relate, you know. So and it's easy growing up in Australia. Like I've lived here longer than I live in Jamaica, right? So when I'm in Jamaica and I'm talking, it was really cool last time I went back, because I taught me Jamaican language, and time I start talking and people man look at me and know me I say. Then they tell me say me come straight from Jamaica and Australia me come from. I wicked think that boom, right there so. Yeah.
The majority of my experiences with black women has been very limited for starters, because obviously growing up here there wasn't a lot of mixed race black women or black women in general. So my initial experiences with another sex is actually someone who's white or Italian or Greek or
all the other
Middle Eastern background. So like, but that's one thing I always yearned for, was like the ability to see a woman and have her see you, but from your same culture. As I was mentioning before, there's like so many little unnecessary conversations that you have trying to explain things to someone who isn't black, but when you're with someone who's black, it's just
get it.
They just get it. Like it's so weird. It's just so weird. But I've only had like a very few relationships with black women, and I think it's because historically there's been a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma between the black male and the black female. That is not our responsibility. Like it hasn't been our fault. We've actually just
carried... It's a historical thing.
It's like the hurt and pain that's placed upon us as black men and women. We've just carried that on to the next generation and the next generation, instead of just sitting in the room and just be like, I see you. And you see me. And there's just beauty within that. And let's just start from ground zero. That's all I want. I want to be given the opportunity for you to see the best version of me, because I'm not this pimp or gangster or rapper that has all these girls up in their home. I'm actually just a human being, and I've got emotions, and I want you to see me for the strong black man that I am.
And not the stereotype of some you know, lives past or whatever. You know?
But I think a lot of black women, maybe from a black women's perspective, I don't know, see us in Melbourne or in Australia, and because we're a minority and because we have all this attention from other races and ethnicities that we don't see them, we do. Like,
I see you, sister.
I see everything about you. It's just maybe I'm a little bit frightened myself to take that chance or take that step.
So now the first thing that became a father did for me was give me an undying respect for women. To see a mammal go through that whole process and not die gave me another level of respect for women, firstly, because I watched the whole thing and I was there through the whole process, and like holding my first daughter coming out, and then she's, you know, it was just like I was very emotional and filled with tears and all that kind of stuff, but it really made me respect my mom on such a deep level, respect the mother of my kids on a deep level, and just be able to actually have like a raw love and appreciation for women on a whole, and like there's no separation between the person that I'm seeing and my mother, even though there is, and my daughter, even though there is, and her mom, even though there is. There's just so many layers of that, and it really kind of woke me up a bit, I guess, you know, to be soft and vulnerable.
It's pretty cool, actually.
It's pretty
cool. I love the way you explain that. It's like such a different... I was getting all emotional in such a different way.
It really just like cracked me open. My heart just like really cracked open from that point on, and I could just really like not come from a place of selfishness, but coming from a place of selflessness when it comes to appreciating the feminine. Yeah.
When my daughter was born, it was like there's this human being that needs me. It doesn't need me to be perfect. It doesn't need me to be wealthy. It just needs me to be present.
Show up.
Show up. And show up with my flaws. Show up with my, what would you say, with my perfections and whatever, like things that I'm really good at. But it helped me in relationships in just showing up and being present for that person that's there with you and without judgment.
Yeah.
Like, literally without judgment. And it actually softened me, funny enough. Like, it just allowed me to just be softened and just show who I am.
But what is it to be a man? And what is the conversations that we're having right now around what that looks like, how we're supposed to behave, how we're supposed to be with other men, how we're supposed to be for fathers, how we're supposed to be for the women in our life, how we're supposed to stand, how we're supposed to carry ourselves. And I think right now there's a massive disconnect going on around what it is to be a man. And, I find that in Australia, it's a very culturally accepted thing that's going on, where there's so many guys going around going, I got to talk to the boss, or the missus is the boss, like all this kind of stuff. And I think it's creating a misguided and a disconnect between the polarity between masculine and feminine, and between men and women, where you've got all these women that are so masculinely driven because the men are just not standing up, and the men are so disempowered because the women are being so masculine. And you got this play going on between masculine and feminine, man and woman, where we've just got things are just not working really that well. We got like the highest rates of suicides in probably, I think, in the world right now in Australia, and a whole bunch of dissatisfied women, and I think it's time that we just really start to really rethink what is it to be a man. Well, there's so many different variations of that, but it's not giving up your power. And what is it to be a woman? Well, it's not always being strong and having to protect yourself and being masculine, or always being on a drive to get somewhere. I think this Corona thing has probably been really awesome for people to just step back and just pause for a minute. So that's something that's really, really been present for me, especially with all the energy cultivation stuff that I do, that how prevalent it is amongst people in the world, not just here, but it's very, very big here in Melbourne. I noticed, traveling overseas, how much more here is in Australia, that we just take a step back. Your woman's not your boss. You're not her boss. You don't always have to be strong if you're a man, and you don't always have to be, powerful and stand up for yourself if you're a woman. Just relax, people. Just take it a step at a time. Yeah.
It's your voice, so I can know.